The 10 side hustles in this video are some that I've either tried myself or I've seen work somewhere else. The first side hustle is digitizing family photo albums. Imagine if your house burned down, what would be the thing that you were most tired of losing? That will probably be the memories, the photos. So already here you have a strong argument for why people want to buy this service from you. So this is a service business, and you can do this one if you're 12 or older. Depending on the size of the photo album that you'll digitize for your client, you could charge anywhere from $25 to $100 for an album. That's a pretty good hourly wage if you ask me, especially if you're young. The only things you need to get started with this one is actually a scanner or a camera, and then a computer. Where can you go to sell this service and market it? I would say friends and family is a good place to start. You can probably get a bunch of customers just talking to your friends and family. But if you want to go beyond that, you can do flyers in your local community, and you can use social media groups. And you can write, I'm doing this service in like a local group in your small town, if you're living in a small town, or in some other group that represents a part of your community. For the time investment, I've given this one a 4 out of 5 because it's manual labor, it's a service business. You will have to sell your own time and you won't get paid when you're not working, and that's just how it is. The only investment you'll have to make is a scanner, which can be a quite big investment, but most of the time either your parents or the people you're actually going to be scanning their albums, you can just have their scanner and you can use that. So I've put the money investment at a 1 out of 5. All in all, I think this side hustle is actually a great one if you're just getting started. You don't have to build anything, you just have to go out and do the selling. The second business you can start is a product business. It's a strawberry business. Essentially what you're going to be doing is growing strawberries and selling them. You can do this all summer and you can get some strains of strawberries that give you strawberries not just at one time, but actually spread the harvest out throughout the year. And this can be beneficial if you're running a strawberry business, because the more days you can be in business every year, the better. What resources would you need to start a strawberry business? Well, strawberry seedlings is one, or seeds. I recommend starting with seedlings because that will get you off the ground really quickly. And then you need some gardening space. So obviously if you're living in a city, this will be a no-go for you. And then you need a simple road stand. This can literally be a box outside with a sign saying strawberries, however many dollars you might imagine. Road stands is a great way to sell your strawberries. I've actually worked in a strawberry road stand all summer once upon a time. You can also do farmers markets. This is maybe if you're a little bit more serious about it. The thing with farmers markets I've noticed is that people don't necessarily go to actually buy things. They maybe just go around and sneak peek and buy a little souvenir here and there. They don't really buy a lot. So I would recommend sticking with the road stand actually, because maybe thousands of cars will drive by and you'll be right there in front of someone's eyes who is very hungry for some strawberries. And of course, it's always an option to sell to your friends and family. Strawberries, everyone loves strawberries, so come on, can't be that hard to sell. You can make anywhere from $10 a day in the summertime to $50 a day doing this business. I've set this income number here because that is my experience with selling things by the road and how much you might imagine selling. Of course, you can scale this bigger. You can get an entire field and have strawberries there. That was what this farmer I worked for did. And you can scale it beyond this, but this is a range where I think most of you will be able to hit that range. You can get started with selling strawberries if you're just 8 years old. You might have to have some help from your parents, but you can, make a small garden, get the strawberries in some nice packaging and get them out to the road and sell them. And it will be a little pocket money for you. I've set the time investment for starting a strawberry business at 3 out of 5 because I think there will be some time creating the garden and waiting for the things to grow. But after that, it's really just like plucking the berries and waiting for people to buy. The money investment, I've set this at 1 out of 5 because I really think the only thing you need is some garden space and strawberry seedlings. The road stand you can build out of things you have, a box, a table, you can set a table and you can have them on that. It's really not that complicated. Starting an ice cream business, I'll be trying this one out this year actually, just for a short period of time because I think this is very interesting. It's a product business that you can start if you're just 9 years old, and actually it makes sense to do this business even if you're 18 or beyond. You can make $100 to $200 a day with your ice cream business. There's two ways you can start your strawberry business. The first one is going down with a cooler to the beach. So just take a cooler, put some ice in there, buy some ice cream, put like some ice to keep it actually cold, and then buy some ice cream, delicious ice cream at the store. And either you can go ice cones or you can just do ice cream sticks, and then go around to people at the beach. And the thing is, if you're young, if you're like 9 years old, then people will love buying from you because you're like a little entrepreneur going around hustling in the heat. And if you're older, still people want food when they're laying, people want ice when they're laying at the beach. So you can go and sell at the beach. The other way is just to build a simple stand where you can sell it from. So basically a table where you have a sign that says ice cream, and then people could come up to you. That's up to you what you want to do, but I think the walking around one will definitely bring you, if you have that sales gene where you're not afraid to go up and ask people, hey, would you like an ice cream? Or just to have a sign literally on your body, like strapped to your body, so people don't miss it. You will look like a kind of funny, but who cares? What you'll need to get started is ice cream. Buy it cheaply in the stores and sell for 10 times what you buy it for. Then you'll need a cooler and a simple stand if you're going to do the stand. And you can make a lot of money. I actually had an old video where I talked about this business because a guy from a movie called The Wolf of Wall Street, he used to do this, Jordan Belfort, when he was young. So I told people about this hustle, and people wrote in the comment section like, oh, I did the ice cream one and made $70 in a day doing it. And this was like a young guy, like I think 11 years old or 9 years old or something. Testaments from the old video says you can actually make $100 to $200 a day selling ice cream at the beach. You will though have to spend some time because again, you're selling and it's your own time that you're using. So I've set a 4 out of 5 for the time investment and a 2 out of 5 for the money investment, because you will have to buy the products. But the thing is, you can buy them so cheaply compared to what you sell them for. There's such a high margin of money that you can make. The money investment will basically pale in comparison to the income that you'll make. The fourth side hustle is something that I call a wardrobe wizard. This is a service that you can offer people. I'd recommend starting with your friends and your family, then moving on to use social media or flyers to market your business. Essentially, what a wardrobe wizard does is you offer people to sell their clothes that they don't use. So you need access to a phone and an online marketplace. So this could be like in Denmark, we have something called Vinted. Maybe it's called Zalando in America or something. You can find these online marketplaces. You can also just use Facebook Marketplace, but you'll have to be 18, I think, actually, to use Facebook Marketplace. So you might have to use your parents' account or something. If you're over the age of 10 years old, then you can start this business. And the way that you will make money doing this is by charging a 50% fee on everything that you sell. And this is actually a great offer for both parties, because if you have some things laying around, some shoes, some clothes, and you'll never get it sold because you don't know how to just put it up on the side, and you'll have to take the measurements and take the pictures, and people, they want to do it, but they don't get it done. And I know this for sure because I have a closet full of things that if someone came along to me and said, I'll market all, I'll sell it all, I'll ship it out for you, I'll do all the hard work and you get 50%. I'll say, great, that's the deal, let's do it. You can definitely persuade some people if you start with your friends and family, and then you can move beyond that. I've put the time investment for starting as a wardrobe wizard at 2 out of 5 because essentially you just have to take the pictures and then put them up on the site and then deliver them to the store where it's going to be shipped from. So it's pretty easy, especially if you do it in bulk. You'll be able to do a lot in really little time. For the money investment, I gave this one a 1 out of 5 because you don't need any money to start. You just need access to a phone and some good sales persuasion skills. Maybe if you start with your friends or your family, you don't even need persuasion skills, you just need to make the offer. Starting as a wardrobe wizard is a great example of when you can start with absolutely no infrastructure. You'll need nothing and you can do it right away. So this one and the Digitizing photo family albums, I think, are great businesses if you're just looking to make some quick money. The next one here is a more long-term play. This is number 5 and it's starting a honey business. So I've done this myself since I was 10 years old, And it's a product business where you're essentially keeping bees. You get yourself some bee colonies, some beehives. You harvest the honey throughout the summer, and then during the winter you feed the bees sugar water, and then you take this honey that you get, put it in nice, beautiful luxury jars, and then you sell it at a premium, either at road stands, at farmers markets, or at local stores. And of course you can just sell and give away to your friends and family who might want some honey, because everyone loves honey. What you'll need to get started, there's a bunch of things you need, but the basic things are beehives, bee suit, and a smoker to give the bees smoke, because then they think there's a fire, and then they actually eat a lot of honey, and they have a hard time stinging you. Then you'll need extraction tools for like extracting the honey, and that's there's multiple different ways to do this, but those tools cost a lot of money, which is why I recommend teaming up with another beekeeper and just lending their equipment, finding some kind of solution that enables you to not buy all these things. And then you'll need outdoor space for the hives, and you'll need some indoor space also to actually store all the equipment. This is a thing that I started at 10 years old, so you can start as a 10-year-old. I had a lot of help from my granddad, who has been a beekeeper for 70 years. You can make $25 to $100 a day selling honey. Depends on how many hives you have, and if you get more hives than I have, you can make even more than stated right here. But if you're making $100 a day all summer, that's a pretty darn good income. And you can actually sell year-round. Just as a side note, you can sell in the winter as well, but sales will decline. The time investment for starting a honey business, I've set at a 2 out of 5. And the reason for this is it actually doesn't take a lot of time. The bees do most of the work. You just have to look at them sometimes and make sure they're having a great time in the hive. And then most of the time will be spent extracting the honey. And when you've extracted it and put labels on, put it on jars and everything, then it's just filling up the road stands. The money investment has to be at least a 4 out of 5. It's a fantastic hobby because it's so interesting to work with the bees, and then you can actually also make an income from it. I want to ask you a quick, really tiny favor. If you have enjoyed this video up until this point, then please subscribe to the channel and like the video. It helps the video come out to a larger audience, so a lot more people can actually become entrepreneurs and get started with a side hustle. The 6th business that you can start is a product business. It's a cherry business, selling cherries. Essentially, all you need to get started is a cherry tree and a simple road stand to sell the cherries. If you don't have a cherry tree, then you might be able to ask your neighbors, or you might be able to actually find a cherry tree somewhere in your area, because there's a lot of cherry trees around. If you get a cherry tree, then just plug all the cherries, put them out in your simple road stand. This can be as simple as just having a little table or little box, and maybe some shed, so they continue to be delicious. As long as the trees are giving cherries, then you can run your cherry business. So this will be like a summer side hustle. I recommend selling at the road. If you don't have a road near you, farmers markets could be great. The downside with farmers markets is that you'll actually have to stand there to service people, and that will take time, which means you'll have to invest more time. You can also sell to your friends or your family, which is always an option. And you can start this at the age of 10. Actually, you can maybe start younger than that also if you have some help from your parents. And you can make anywhere from $10 to $60 a day selling cherries, which is a great income. Of course, it depends on how many trees you have. If you have one tree, probably aim for $10 a day. If you have a whole yard filled with cherry trees, then you can probably make a lot more money by selling them, because demand is there in the summertime. Trust me, people love cherries. The time investments for starting a cherry business I've set at 2 out of 5. If you don't have a cherry tree near you, then it won't make sense to start this one. So meaning the only people who are going to start this business are people who have a cherry tree near them. So this like cuts off, you don't have to go out and plant anything. You literally just have to harvest, put in boxes, and then sell. And that's all you need to do. And selling requires no time if you're using a road stand. For the money investment, it's a 1 out of 5. You don't need any money to start. Just a simple road stand, which you can build out of things that you have. This business is great if you're starting out, want to make some extra money in the summertime. The 7th business, which I think is awesome, is starting a Dahlia flower business. So this is a special kind of flower which is extremely beautiful, which means that people love buying bouquets of dahlia flowers. And this is a product business. You can start this at the age of 11, and you can make anywhere from $10 to $40 a day, just to give you a ballpark of the income you can make from having a dahlia flower business. What you need to get started is you need dahlia bulbs, like the thing that they grow from. You'll have to get some of those from someone who already grows them. You'll need basic gardening tools, and then you'll need a simple road stand to sell these things. If you have a road near you, then I recommend planting the dahlia flowers near the road so that you can make a self-picking system where people just pick for themselves and then they send to your Venmo or your PayPal or your crypto wallet or whatever you use. The time investment for this one I've set at a 2 out of 5. If you have the self-picking bouquet system, then it's really not a lot of time you'll have to spend, and the money investment is just the gardening tools and the plants, the bulbs as they are called. Even if you don't choose to use the self-picking system, you can still sell at in social media groups. You can like make sure that everyone in your community knows that if they need flowers, they can come to you. And you can also sell to your friends and your family. You can also just have a road stand with a bouquet, like a sample bouquet, and then a sign that says, knock on the door if you want more flowers. And then you can go down to the backyard and you can deliver the flowers. But you will have to be home. If you're not home, then yeah, you'll lose some customers because of that. So go for the self-plugging system. The 8th business is kind of a broad business, but it's really, really a money maker. This is a product business where you're going to be selling to starving crowds. You might ask, what is the best thing that I can sell? But really, it's not about having the best thing, it's about having a starving crowd. If you have a starving crowd, you can have the shittiest hot dogs and people will buy them. Food and drinks at high demand events. So this can be like festivals, it can be tourist spots. This is a tourist spot. Not a lot of tourists here right now, but it's like an ancient megalithic structure from the Viking age, actually. I probably wouldn't start a road stand out here or sell here because I haven't seen any people out here. So choose a spot with high demand. This can be like a beach area or a tourist spot. You can also just use a road stand and you can sell from that. You've probably heard of loads of people starting lemonade businesses, like selling lemonade at the road. Especially if you're young, this will be easy to sell because the younger you are, essentially the better it is to start these kinds of businesses. My little sister, who's 7 years old, and her friend who's also that age, they made a road stand where they sold rocks. So they just picked up rocks from a gravel road and they sold them. And it wasn't even beautiful rocks. This was at a place where no one came. When young people are entrepreneurial, that's a game changer for people. The only things you'll need to start a business where you're selling to starving crowds is just the inventory of whatever you're going to sell. Maybe it's sodas, maybe it's ice cream, maybe it is some kind of food. And then you might need some permits. If you're selling at a festival, some festivals, lots of festivals, you need a permit. But tourist spots, a lot of the time you'll be able to actually just make a small stand or go around selling without a permit. I've set the time investment at 3 out of 5 because it's manual labor. You will have to go around and sell for yourself, and I've set the money investment at a 3 out of 5. So you will need to actually buy the inventory, and depending on what you sell, if you sell ice cream, you can buy it really cheaply and sell really expensive. If you buy other things, for example, a soda might have a little bit of a smaller markup of what you're going to be selling it at. The 9th business on the list is starting an egg business. So this is a product business where you're going to be raising chickens and selling their eggs. You can start this if you're 8 years old. You can get a couple laying hens and you can feed them your food scraps and some grain. The only things that you'll need to get started are chickens, a coop for the chickens, and maybe a movable fence, some feed grain, and space outside. And there's probably a lot more other things like water buckets and stuff, but these are all things that you probably have laying around. You have a bucket and you can fill it with water, so no problem. I actually used to run an egg business myself. I had over 30 laying hens and I sold more than 100 eggs a week at a road stand. It was actually a really ugly road stand. It was an old refrigerator that didn't work and people would just go in there and get the eggs. But you can use also just a cooler. I've seen people use a cooler and having the eggs in there. You can also sell to friends and family. People love farm fresh eggs, and then you can sell at farmers markets, but I will recommend sticking with the first two points of sales. Those are going to be the most profitable. You can make anywhere from $7 to $30 a day selling eggs, and this is based on my own experience. I know in America eggs are quite expensive compared to where I live. If you have like good quality pasture raised chickens and you're selling their eggs, meaning that these chickens actually just sounded like a chicken. What the flip? If you have chickens that have like been outside and had grass to eat, people will pay a premium for those eggs. I've set the time investment for starting a egg business at 2 out of 5. It's not manual labor. It's a product that you're selling, and it's not you who is producing the product, thankfully. If you decide to like really try to cut your expenses, you can drive your expenses way down because the chickens aren't that expensive. You'll have to have a coop, but you can build it yourself from materials that you have laying around. But if you want to like buy everything new, it will be a little bit expensive to start your chicken egg business. The 10th business project is helping seniors with their tech. So tech help for seniors. This is a service business where you are essentially helping old people with their technology, their devices, their television, their phones, and social media. A lot of times old people, they're completely off the rails when it comes to technology. They don't know how to set up their new phone. They don't know how to make an account on Facebook, or they don't know how to read their friends' posts and make their own posts. So you can teach them this. You don't have to be a tech genius. You just have to be more educated than the person you're helping. I help a lady with her technology. It's more because she's running a small yoga studio business, and she has really trouble with her Facebook and like managing the Facebook page and the Facebook business page and all this. And I help her do this, and she always sends me some money, and it's a pretty good hourly wage I get from doing this. How do you sell? How would you sell your tech help? Start with friends and family. It's always great to start with friends and family, especially if you're young. And you can go door to door. Do you need help for your technology, or do you know anyone who does? Or do you have parents who need help with this? And if you're young, you'll probably get great results. If you're old, you might want to get a other job. You can also use flyers in your local community to sell your tech support help. The one character trait you might want to actually possess before starting this business is patience. You will need a lot of patience, because when you're sitting there and you have to teach the person to like, okay, go into your own profile. How do you do that? Well, you just did it like 10 times in the last 20 minutes, but because you put them on the spot and they have to think about it, they can't do it. So you'll have to be very, very patient with people. I've put the time investment at a 3 out of 5 because it is a service business. You will have to, you're selling your time directly for money, but it's a pretty good hourly wage you can charge. You can charge $10 to $40 an hour, and that's great, especially if you're only 13 years old. The money investment is essentially zero, because the only thing that you're just selling a skill that you have that other people do not have, or especially seniors do not have. If you want the mega list of 60 different side hustle projects that you can start, then go to zerotofirst.com. That is 02first.com. Sign up for the email newsletter, and I'll send it over to you, and you can pick the one that is really the one for you.